Hello, P2s. I'm guessing that all of you must be very excited about going to Primary 3 where you learned about science. So in this presentation, I'm going to give you some ideas about what you will be learning in your science lessons when you reach P3. So let's get excited about learning science together. Well, I'm sure many of you must be thinking in your mind, what exactly is science about? Don't worry, in this presentation, we will be exploring what are some ideas about science and what is it about. In short, science is really about things that are happening all around you. So just take a look around you, the lights in your classroom, the fan that is spinning around, even when your friends, when they talk to you, you are able to hear them because of the sound waves that are coming out from their mouths when they speak. So science is really about finding out about the things that happens around us and sometimes even inside of us. So things like how does your digestive system work? How does your circulatory system work? These are some very exciting things that scientists have discovered. And we would like for you to go on this journey with us. So in science, we will get our knowledge from number one, studying. So when you study, you're actually learning about facts that other scientists have discovered earlier and they have written for us in a book to read and to study. And then we will also learn about science from experimenting, which you will be conducting various type of experiments, such as finding out how is starch actually being produced, or maybe looking at what affects plants when they try to photosynthesize. We will also learn science through our observation as well. So we will conduct color changes tests such as starch tests. Well, science is in our everyday life. And one of the most basic thing that we can think of is about what is happening in our body. So we can use science to find out about our bodies. So have you ever wondered what happens when you breathe? Or what happens when you eat a piece of bread or your favorite noodles? How does it get digested? And how do we obtain energy from it? So all this information cannot happen without science. And so through science, we'll be able to learn more about these systems. One of the most fascinating systems in our body that always interests me is your digestive system. And that is because I love to eat. And I'm sure many of you would also love to eat, right? So when you are eating your McDonald's or that delicious donut, it's good to actually know how is this food being broken down into a substance that is small enough to be absorbed into your system and then be delivered to every single tiny little cell that can only be viewed under the microscope. So because of this digestive system, we are able to obtain energy to carry out our daily activities such as doing homework and playing with our friends. When you learn science, you can look forward to creating your own models to help you gain a better understanding of how your digestive system and your other system actually work in order to make sure that you have a healthy working body. So please look forward to being engaged in such fun activities. Did you know that science actually makes our lives a whole lot easier? I bet you didn't really think about it, but many inventions in our everyday lives are only present because of science. Things like how do you think you can iron your shirt is because a scientist has actually invented the iron, right? So up next, we're going to look at some examples of our everyday lives where science actually made it easier. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Disney movie Tangled. As you can see in the slides, the girl is able to see when she lights up the candles. So light is a type of energy that enables us to see. And why are we able to know that? Well, it's because of science. Without exploring how light works, we would never have been able to discover the importance of light. So yes, indeed, science has made our lives easier. Also, on the sunny island of Singapore, think about the many times whereby the weather is so hot and so humid. Thank goodness for the fan that is installed on the ceilings, right? As you can see above you now. Now, the invention of fan would not have been possible without science, and also your air conditioner, which is a lifesaver in this very warm and humid weather. So it's really important to study and learn about science. Perhaps one day you would also be a great scientist to invent things that are very useful in our everyday lives. We also use science to find out about the world, not just about inventing things, but really understanding the world as a whole. Well, think about it. Earthquakes, weather changes, global warming, all these are a type of science. It's about studying how the weather change and what affects global warming. How does earthquake occur so that we can save lives? Because when we are able to understand how do earthquakes occur, we can actually have steps to prevent them. So when we want to understand the world through a lens of a scientist, you need to go out into the world to explore. So for example, if you want to understand more about a bug, you might be traveling into the Amazon forest, or you may be going to deserts, or how about the Arctic to study about your polar bears in their natural environment. So science is really very interesting. You get to study so many different types of insects, animals, fishes, reptiles, all in their own natural environment. And from that discovery, you will get to learn new knowledge, and that is science. Of course, after studying about the various bugs in your books, it's not just enough. We want to bring it one level higher, where students exercise their creativity and learn how to make their own models insects, right? So as you can see in this presentation, these are actually past projects that have been done by the previous batches of P3. So you can look forward to making your own insects, coloring them, putting various structures together to make them look interesting while learning the different parts that exist for various type of insects in the coming year. You will also be happy to know that we will be carrying out many other activities, and one such thing is learning how to grow your own plants. So what you see in this slide is basically the various students growing their own plants using a kind of technology known as hydroponics. So hydroponics is is a method of growing plants using only water as well as liquid nutrients. So in this type of technique, there is no soil involved, right? It is very clean and very sustainable. And it's very suitable for Singapore, whereby land is very scarce. So there you have it. Science indeed has made our life better. Besides growing your own plants and making your own insect models, you will also be involved in a scavenger hunt. What is a scavenger hunt? Well, basically, you are encouraged to go with your family members out and appreciate the various parks and greenery that we have in Singapore. When you walk in this park, you will look out for various types of living organisms and observe the natural habitats, and then write notes and take down what are some interesting points about these living organisms that you have seen. And that is exactly what a scientist does. Remember, in my earlier slides, I told you that science is obtained through observation. And that's what scientists does. They observe, they note down, and then they learn about new things about living organisms in this world. Another exciting topic that you will be learning about when you learn science would be on light and shadow. In this topic, you would learn about how shadow is being formed due to the blocking of your light. You will also learn the different types of materials that allow different amount of light to pass through. So, in today's activity later on, you will be given an activity where you can learn to create simple shapes such as a rabbit or maybe even a dog, all right, and form interesting type of shadows. So with that, you could enjoy a little bit of maybe even shadow puppeting. Once you've attained a good knowledge of how shadows are formed and how their positions affect their sizes, you can actually have your own shadow sculptures as shown in the presentation above. As you can see, the house actually looks a lot bigger in the shadow. Alright, and the rabbit is a lot smaller. So why is that the case? Well, it's got to do with the position. Learn about it in doing your science lessons, and you can come up with your very own shadow sculptures. I hope that you have been inspired by me about learning science, even though you've not officially learned it yet. So science is really something that we all should be very excited about. So I look forward to you coming up to Primary 3 and learning about it. Now that I've shared so much about science with you, perhaps you could think about why do you think science is important, right? So think about how science actually made your everyday lives a lot easier and all the inventions. In fact, some of your favorite invention, well, it could be your iPad or your TV. How does that make you happy in your everyday life? Now, I would like you to take some time to really think about what is your favorite type of invention. So pen it down in the activity worksheet that you have and tell me, share a bit about why do you think that this invention is the most important and is your favorite. How does that benefit you? You know, we always have this beautiful phrase. A picture speaks 1,000 words. So instead of just describing it, perhaps you would like to draw your favorite invention and share with the class. You may color it and add decorations and perhaps even add details to it to make it interesting. Now, before I end off and say goodbye to everybody, let's take some time to reflect on what we've learned today. I would like you to write down 3 things that you have learned about science, 2 things that you like to find out more about, and 1 thing that you're unsure of. So take your time and pen it down in your reflection worksheet that's been given to you. Alright then, I shall leave you to your reflection. So I look forward to seeing many of you when you come up to Primary 3. Right, God bless and thank you. Bye-bye.